What is up, my friends, and welcome to another edition of XFL Week in Review. I'm your host, Mark Perry, editor of XFL News Hub, and on this week's show, Major League Football, that's right, another league, announces we'll have a spring season. Plus, Jonathan Hayes interviews for a new job. We'll check that out and so much more. So how do you get in touch with the show? It's simple. You email podcast at XFL News Hub with your MP3s or videos, or call 888-430-7692 extension 3. Plus, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on the show. We appreciate all that good stuff. This week, we got some player movement before we get into the main news this week. First up, Jets moved DC Defenders Elijah Campbell to their active roster. Battlehawks QB Taylor Heinicke, he signs with the Washington football team that doesn't have a team name anymore. And apparently now the Cleveland Indians is not going to be the Indians anymore. I didn't know that was on the radar. Jacksonville Jaguars signed Roughnecks defensive tackle Gabe Wright to their practice squad as well. So that's some of the player movement we have this week. Also, a reminder, this week's question of the week, we're bringing it back for a second because we want your reaction to the Spring League Championship game, which takes place on the 15th at 7 p.m. on FS1. So we want you to check it out, see what you think of that, and tune into that. Also, I am not wearing the new XFL hat. There is controversy, and you will hear about that later on XFL Markcast, and if you didn't check it out. And also fans' reaction to the hat, and we have some of your responses to the XFL Velcro hat situation, if you want to call it, whatever. So it's we have that coming up and a bunch of your messages as well. So without further ado, folks, let's just get into the week that was the XFL. The MLFB has announced its plans to play in the spring of 2021. Now, this all depends on, what's going on in the world. Now, recently we've seen the CFL plans to return next year after canceling its 2020 season. Free agency for the Canadians up north will open February, with many players already announcing their return. Now, the XFL has decided to make 2021 their ramp-up period, preparing for a 2022 return. We've heard all about that. So this left the door open for another spring league to take the stage, and that is MLFB. CEO Frank Merther has began talking about plans for next season. So training camp will begin in April at their headquarters in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. This is a publicly traded league, and they plan to have their regular season in May and play through June with the championship and the beginning of July. Very cool. Although you know what still controls the fate, playing in a bubble has not been considered at this point. The league has trademarked for now 10 teams, but for now they'll only use 6 for their inaugural season. We don't know which teams will be chosen, but it's likely to be a southernmost team to keep the travel and costs to a minimum. So here are the current team names that they have registered. You got the Alabama Airborne, Arkansas Attack, Florida Fusion, Northwest Empire, Ohio Union, Oklahoma Nation, Oregon Crash, Texas Independent, Utah Stand, and Virginia Armada. I think I'm going to have to go with the Florida Fusion or Virginia. I think I might be an Armada guy. Kind of like that name the best. The cities were chosen similar to the AAF concept to not compete in NFL markets. The idea behind it was to give these areas much needed professional sports and some revenue. The MLFB will be operating on a strict $30 million budget, so as to not get itself into any financial trouble. Players will be paid somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500 per game, with a $1,000 bonus for wins, kind of like how the XFL did with their at least bonuses for wins. Our own Josh Davis asked Frank Merther about coaches, since those would need to be lined up ahead of players, and for now, all he could say was that they have talked to some candidates, but would rather make sure they have all their plans solidified before officially offering jobs, so we'll have to stay tuned for that. He was also able to say that they are looking at more established coaches that can teach to head up teams while having younger guys in more developmental positions. The league isn't just about helping players get better, but also coaches, team executives, and officials. A more clear announcement could be coming in the next several weeks. So the XFL and AAF proved the concept. Both leagues were hits with fans, and we've learned anything during the NFL season. These leagues provide players opportunity that they may not have without game film. So we've had the Spring League. It's been a little bit of a rocky thing. Now, fans, you will get your Major League Football, MLFB, in the spring. So stay tuned with XFL News Hub as we cover all the news when it comes to this league, coaching announcements, official team names, and players, and so forth. But hopefully they can get a initial spring season in 2021. Battlehawks coach Jonathan Hayes interviews for the Vanderbilt opening. Now, Vanderbilt will have no shortage of candidates interested in pursuing their coaching opening. As of right now, it's been reported that Notre Dame's defensive coordinator Clark Lee has interviewed for the job. It's also been reported that Coastal Carolina coach James Chadway, Charlotte coach Will Healy, and Army coach Jeff Monaghan are a few other Vanderbilt names that are being talked about. They've also been reports of former Rams and Titans coach Jeff Fisher has expressed interest in the opening as well. He might say no to that because remember that whole XFL Jeff Fisher thing that just went wrong. But according to another report, former Battlehawks coach Jonathan Hayes is interviewed for the job. Coach Hayes' background certainly warrants consideration for another head coaching. He spent 4 years under Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, worked with the Bengals as the tight ends coach from 2003 to 2018. Most recently, of course, he was the head coach of the St. Louis Battlehawks. We liked him a lot, and they did a very good job. Not to be overlooked for the fact that Hayes had a lengthy career in the NFL with the Chiefs from 1985 to 1993 and with the Steelers from 94 to 96. Once Vanderbilt let Derek Mason go, athletic director Candace Stoley said that they were looking for a coach that is more offensive-minded and has had head coaching experience. Of course, Hayes checks both those spots. During his brief time with the Battlehawks, Hayes made a huge impression on the team and the community. It will be bittersweet if he isn't around to lead the Battlehawks again in 2022, but like so many from the XFL, he deserves a chance to shine. Hopefully, he gets that chance soon. It's like one of those things. I'm like, yeah, I'm totally excited for you, Coach Hayes. That would be fantastic if you were the Vanderbilt coach. But I really want to be selfish and want you back in St. Louis with the Battlehawks to finish what you started. We'll have to see.
Here's what you missed last week on the XFL Markcast.
And I think I broke Paul already. We're like,
oh, hi, Mark.
6 minutes into the show, but we got it. I'm crying too, Paul. It's okay.
Jesus.
It's good. We're really doing the Lord's work, but we're talking about XFL stuff. Let's first off, I've totally broken Paul now. One not positive note, I will say. We all know your boy Reed ordered his XFL Black Friday hat. Got it.
Did you just refer to yourself in third person?
You know it. I got my, if you're watching the YouTube, xflshow.com/YouTube, I got my XFL hat here. I'm going to say this, Paul, you know I know a thing about hats. This hat, XFL, I bought it just because it was like limited edition. I'm sure that's all crap, but that's fine. This is the worst hat I've ever seen. I know Mark Perry on Week in Review was trying to talk about, the stitching. Yeah, it's got good 3D stitching. But like, look at this. They're not going to announce anything before January 1st, right? Like, we're going to get through this financial year, right? Spoiler alert, you're not going to hire a bunch of people like middle of December. So I think, but it certainly sounds like June's been talking to people at XFL and that they said, yeah, absolutely, you are not to be telling the story right now out there on CBS Radio.
It's going to be interesting to see if does it jeopardize his potential future employment with XFL now? That's because that's a concern. Because I like having June Jones. I mean, I think June Jones is a great offensive mind. Clearly, everywhere he's been, he's put a lot of points on the board. So the ownership might have a beef with that coach, and you've got a beef with another coach, Jim Zorn, apparently shining your dragons. What's up with that?
Zorn, on his Twitter bio, it says coach of the Rednecks and, or not the Rednecks, the Redskins and, all this stuff. And
hey, it's the Washington football team now.
But there was no XFL Dragons in his Twitter bio. And I go, Jim, What
Disrespect.
What the F?
Disrespect.
There was a reason this has never been done before. Look, everybody, we get asked all the time, like, where'd you come up with this idea? And I was like, literally anybody who's ever watched sports has had this idea. They've yelled at the TV and they scream.
Of course, you can find XFL Markcast on XFL News Hub and wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube.
What's up, XFL Army? If you're a fan of the XFL News Hub and you have a telephone, which I know all of you do because you're sitting there playing on your phones all the time, then why not download the XFL News Hub app? That's right, it's on iTunes. It's on Android. We have an Android version and an iPhone version of the XFL News Hub app. So what do you get? You get the latest news from XFL News Hub, the premier source of XFL news in the universe. Plus, you get push notifications when we have breaking news. You will be the first to know. You can leave a comment on some of the news right from your phone. Plus, you get this podcast on your phone as well. Remember, you can leave us reviews on the Google Play Store or iTunes. It links to other social media, our other social media accounts, and so much more. Be in the know. I know you're on your phones. People are on their phones all the time. They never get off their phones. So why not just download the XFL News Hub app on your Android or iPhone today? All you need to do is go to the Google Play Store or iTunes and just type in XFL News Hub. That's XFL News Hub. Download our app on your phone today. All right, let's take a little bit of our social media. First up, we have a little thing going on there with Steve Spurrier was recently spotted wearing a Dallas Renegades jacket. And this is credit user Chris Lemon 15. Reaction to that. Now, his son, Scott Spurrier, and Anthony posted this on our Facebook, that his son Scott was an assistant coach for the Renegades, so that's probably why he was wearing it. However, seeing Spurrier with a Dallas Renegades shirt, cool jacket, by the way, which I want one. That was kind of out there, and it was kind of neat to see him. I still think he has got to be a lock for Tampa as their head coach. Would be a home run, and then you bring Stoops back. But it was cool to see the all-ball coach, who's in his mid to late 70s, I believe, wearing the Roughnecks. Dallas Renegades jacket, which was kind of cool. About Heineke signs with Washington, Jason says, so is the Battlehawks going to have anybody on the team if and when the XFL starts back up? Well, hopefully you get Jordan Ta'amu back. Who knows what the roster is going to look like? I mean, technically we were supposed to start year 2 in a couple months, and it's going to be a year after that. So you got to remember your 27-year-old, 26-year-old guys are now 28, and then there's a whole new pool of guys coming in behind them. So who knows what these rosters will look like and how many former XFL guys come back. If I'm, Cam Phillips or some of these other guys, I just want to finish out a season. You don't know what's going to happen with the relationship between Danny Garcia and The Rock and the people that they know. And when it comes to the XFL, that goes beyond even just being like, hey, I want to get a NFL contract. It can lead to other things. So it'd be really interesting to see. But yeah, some of these guys are getting pulled from different teams. On the Jets moving Elijah Campbell to their active roster. Mike says hashtag defend the NYC. There you go. Defend the NYC. Well, you've got your boy Lawrence, whatever his name, Trevor Lawrence. Looks like he'll be a New York Jet. So you guys need to relax there in New York. On the YouTubes, we got Gilbert says, didn't know there was a new league, talking about the Spring League and their championship game on the 15th. Cyril Moore says, I love the XFL. Love the XFL. Me too. Jack Stevens, Tier 1. Jack Stevens. Nice video. Brandon says, talking about these hats, a 940 hat with Velcro back? Question mark? Huh? Question mark? I have been out of the hat scene for years and years, but I thought 940 made high-end, expensive fitted hats. Guess that includes Velcro backs now also? I preferred the fitted look for sure. Makes the overall look of the hat sleeker. Me too. I mean, you saw my reaction last week. And the Velcro situation, you saw XFL Markcast, their take on it. Reed, especially, Reed is now the XFL News Hub's definitive, also Josh Davis too, definitive fashionistas of the XFL world. We'll leave the fashion stuff up to them. But I kind of, the Velcro backing, I'm with you on that one. I'm kind of like, is this something do we need to worry about this going forward if we get like stuff that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too into it. Paladin Demo, the shirt I ordered was stolen same day it arrived. Already contacting XFL customer service. I got the ball rolling on that, waiting for an update. That's no fun to get your XFL merch stolen after you were so looking forward to it. Gilbert, I'm on XFL relocation, says they should move the Vipers to Miami, plus the Rock is from there. That should help the fan base. Talk to the Dolphins. Miami is not a great sports town. I don't even know how well they did with LeBron there. I don't know. They're fine in Tampa. Miami would be interesting. I give you that, especially with The Rock, that connection there. But Tampa's fine. I think Orlando, it would be your best spot. But Tampa, give us a full season, then we can figure it out. Bill is talking about Major League or True American. Apparently, he's True American. Good to see that. He's talking about Major League Football, the MLFB. He says San Antonio Independence, ? I don't know. Bill says this league will never kick off. That's an interesting thing. Over and under. Do you think, I know from the XFL Markcast talking about that fan control football thing, that seems to be moving. Not really. If they're going to kick off spring, we need to get the ball moving here with the Major League Football deal. And hey, I'm all for it. We'll see what they got. They got $30 million. Let's see what they want to do. If you want us to, we'll be covering all these leagues because I think these guys will eventually play in the XFL somewhere. And we're also talking about including, covering the CFL this summer because, again, these guys could be playing in the XFL. 314 J-Rock says, I really like Jonathan Hayes and want him to return as a St. Louis Battlehawks coach. So do we. Give Me Abundance says, my guardian angel makes spring football succeed. Talking about Major League Football. Good. Yeah, we all want this to succeed. Paladin says it's only an interview. Doesn't mean that he's got the job. This is true. Talking about Hayes. Mike says stay with the Battlehawks coach. Hey, he needs to get paid. But, I was hurt Pep Hamilton left. But, because he's a great coach. Any of these guys leaving, frankly, I just want for them. Not for me. I don't want to be selfish. Not for me. But I definitely want to see them be able to finish what they started. And the team presidents too. And the players, like everybody. I would like to see everybody just kind of finish what they started. Let's see. Paladin also says, talking about the Major League Football names, he says the names sound like a Kmart version of the 2001 XFL. Sounds impressive, but feels padded. Credit for going to regions. That's kind of a blind spot for the NFL. If they are doing a 2021 season, maybe Nuff blessed their blocking dice. Oh, maybe. And Jack checks in. Oh, August says this is the XFL. We have actually video of the XFL show opening from 2001 on our YouTube's channel, which is really funny to look back on and see what the deal is with that. But thanks for all those. That's on your YouTubes. On the Twitter, Hindsight says this is a league that I would support, not the scam league. Talking about Major League Football. So he's involved with that, but not so much on the Spring League. Don't blame you there. Ken, at Arena Fan Ken, says two coaches I would love to see in the XFL in 2022 is Rex Ryan and Rick Neuheisel. Two very good coaches and great personalities. Interesting. Rex Ryan would be interesting. Rick Neuheisel, yeah, I have no problem with either one of those. Talking about Jonathan Hayes, he said, at Davis Willie B says, what are you hearing on Bob Stoops? Any chance he returns to the Renegades? No word on Stoops yet. No word on anything. Well, I wouldn't. it's not 100% impossible that I think there's a chance that he will return. I mean, having The Rock and Danny Garcia involved and Jeffrey Pollock returns, I think these guys just want to finish it. And he was liking what he was doing, and then throw in Spurrier in there and they can have a nice little rivalry. I think they would all be on board with that. So I wouldn't put it, we haven't heard anything yet, but don't close the door on him yet. On the Instagram, a lot of people, Strong Island super fan. All right, Strong Island. Says, talking about Steve Spurrier again. It says suspicions intensifying. A lot of reaction there. So some fans were interested in seeing Spurrier with the Dallas Renegades gear going on there. On to some emailers. We got Ethan Harris wants to pursue XFL job. Again, what we've been telling people is, try these other leagues, the Spring League, and now, Your Call Football, and also Major League Football or places. We'll have more information about these things going forward. I know if you're interested in the Spring League, you can go to the Spring League's website. Not really sure about these other two leagues just yet, but we'll get into information out there. Also, if you want to check out our man Paladome Demo, he's got some pictures to check. He says, here's where I currently at with his Battlehawks project. You can see the pictures on our YouTube channel. Armor and jerseys are done, kept main colors as metallic, and even gave the Paladron straps blue jewels. The position in order are blitzer, catcher, lineman, and thrower. The markers and coins in the second picture are complete. The footballs in the third picture are completed as well. Had to use one of my ultra-thin brushes to put the X on the ends of the ball, working on the pants necks. Very cool. I like some of that XFL artwork kind of stuff. So thanks to everybody on the social media for checking in. And remember, if you want to be part of the show, email podcast at XFL News Hub with your MP3s or call. And plus, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on the show. Reaction to the Spring League. That's the question for next week's program. We wanted you guys to check it out, see what you think. Remember, FS1 on the 15th at 7 p.m. They will be cool there. Remember, you can follow us everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're everywhere. Our YouTube channel, follow us on there. Plus, download our apps. Leave us a review. We like that. Listen to us everywhere. Show notes, xflnewshub.com/xfl-podcast. Join us on the Discord because we are working on the XFL, the fantasy app for the wrestling side. Again, January 4th. Trading has been a little bit interesting of having to do trades because you could have 1 for 2 or 2 for 1 trades and then dropping trades. So that's been a little tricky, but getting that done. And I think there'll be something rolled out on January 4th. So we're excited about that as the test bed to go into the XFL season. Because I think with everything going on, I would be fantastic if everybody picked up fantasy XFL. I don't think it would happen that first year. They would just struggle, just even to get DraftKings on board. We'll see. Danny and The Rock know what they're doing. So that's it. So that's it for this week. Enjoy the games this week. We will have a recap next week of who are in the championship. That's what I want. The XFL Week in Review Fantasy Football Championships. This is recorded on Monday, the 14th. So tonight we have the final game. Your Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns. This will then lock. So find out on XFL News Hub. Of all the writers of XFL News Hub, who is in the playoffs in our fantasy NFL league as well. See how your boy Mark did. I think I'm on the cusp of making the playoffs, but tonight we'll see how that goes. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for listening. Mahalo. God bless. Stay safe out there, my friends. Put your mask on. We're almost through this whole garbage. I'm really feeling good for the spring, summertime, and I cannot wait for hit that summertime. XFL starts having some training camp type things, some not so much tryouts, but invitations. We get the coaches. We get out in the sun. I'm buying golf clubs this summer. Be out and about, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So God bless, and I will see you all. You know how I finish this show every single time. Later.